It's the Eastside Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 27th. We are through week 3. My team stinks.
Oh my god.
But it's okay because I'm getting rid of all of them. The fire sale has begun. We'll get into it later. Joe, I really thought I was going to come on here and be really depressed and really sad like I was last week.
Have you decided to just give up on it?
I'm not giving up.
Emotionally?
I'm not giving up. I just realized, okay, I had a phone call with Jack Edelman, league member, yesterday. And he said, are you in full panic mode to not lose the league? I don't care about losing the league. I just want to have fun on Sunday. And I'm not with this group of losers. I don't care if I lose every game. My players are not fun to watch.
Well, they're not playing. That's the problem.
I'm watching my players just sit on the bench or
You're
not
watching Jamal Williams score 8 touchdowns in 3 weeks.
So I'm breaking it up. We'll get into that later, but
yep.
Both of our teams played very poorly this week.
I know.
I didn't even hit 75 this week. That's how
I need Ezekiel Elliott to score 21 points tonight.
There are women's college basketball teams that score more points than what my team put up.
Oh my god.
So we'll get into all the scores, the fantasy matchups, the soups, the Tylers of the week, a trade that went down. And let me tell you, by the end of the week, by Saturday's show, there will be more, especially coming from me.
Yes.
Joe, you got anything to say at the top? Sorry, I kind of took it heavy, Joe, but go ahead.
No, that's okay. You definitely deserved it. I don't have a whole lot to say. My team definitely underperformed. My bench went off. We had a kind of a low week for all fantasy football. I feel like throughout all my leagues, like there's a lot of teams that are hovering right around that 100 mark for PPR, which is a mark you want to hit with ease, to be honest. So it's kind of a weird week, I would say.
Yeah, and let's you just want to get right into the news then?
Yeah, let's get into the news.
All right, I added this one on here because I think it's pretty important. Rashawn Slater, who was a first-round draft pick 2 years ago for the Chargers. He's their left tackle. He's played every single game since he's been drafted. Tore his bicep. He's done for the year. I throw that in there because left tackle is very important. And you know that Justin Herbert was playing through an injury. I didn't get to see that game because I was working, but the stats didn't look like they were very good.
No, not at all. Also,
with Eckler struggling a little bit, I just think that's a big thing to talk about with a huge guy. They already lost their center, Lindsley. I don't know when he's coming back, but their left tackle is done for the year.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say more than that. I mean, Justin Herbert is obviously a great fantasy and NFL quarterback. He looked injured this past weekend, so this is just like kind of kicking him while he's down to have a left tackle done for the year, and it doesn't help Austin Eckler, who's been underwhelming already.
Let's see. Dalvin Cook, he separated his shoulder. That led to the big day for Alexander
This
Madison.
happens a lot, which is weird.
Yeah, so I was going to say,
his shoulder all the time.
I looked it up. This is something he's been dealing with since high school.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he misses any time here. And if he does, I wouldn't think it's a lot of time.
I know he has some like shoulder like sling. They like to call it the device on the fantasy footballers.
Yeah,
so it's
I
like
heard
a
that
big
today.
thing. And so that's something that he wears and can still play in order to hopefully not have his shoulder pop out in the middle of the game. So it wouldn't surprise me if he plays this upcoming week.
Yeah. Next up, Dan Campbell said, now Swift did not play a lot, DeAndre Swift, and he was already dealing with an ankle, and then apparently now he's dealing with a shoulder, and now there's a couple things that came out, and I'll even explain this more, what happened today. But Dan Campbell said that Swift could possibly benefit from taking the next 2 weeks off and returning to action following the team's week 6 bye. So that would be 3 weeks that he's out.
Which is a big component
we'll get into it later.
What we're going to get into.
Yeah. Joe Mixon is good to go after not playing the fourth quarter. To be honest with you, again, a game I didn't see a ton of. They were winning by a decent amount. They probably just didn't even need to risk it with them in that fourth quarter. They beat who they play this past week?
The Jets. They handled the Jets pretty easily.
Okay, yeah, so they didn't need him, but I think he's fine. To Tampa, Coach Todd Bowles is optimistic about Julio Jones, who's not playing week 3 to return to week 4 against the Chiefs. I believe someone said from the Tampa staff that he could have played. They held him out. So Julio Jones possibly returning, but if you're asking me, I don't know about you. Julio Jones he could go out at any second.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to play Julio.
Coach Robert Saleh, big old Bob Salah, said the team expects Zach Wilson to make his season debut in week 4 against the Steelers. The only thing, like obviously that's their guy, but you got to see what Garrett Wilson,
Yeah.
Tyler Conklin is going to be
I
doing
mean,
because
I'm not going to be excited to start any of them with Zach Wilson as a starting quarterback if he is starting in week 4. I mean, that's going to kind of be a wait and see for me, unless you absolutely have to start Garrett Wilson, who would be the guy that I would want to start out of the bunch. But I definitely don't want to if I don't have to, considering a lot is going to change with Zach Wilson. I don't think Zach Wilson's going to be throwing the ball 50 plus times like Joe Flacco was.
I don't either. So do you think this is an upgrade for maybe Carter or Brees Hall?
I mean, Brees Hall continues to keep getting more and more work, so I think they're trying to like work him in. I mean, it's hard to say because I don't foresee like the offense moving more fluently with Zach Wilson at quarterback, especially coming off an injury. So, I mean, it's hard to say.
I
You
don't
want to start anyone,
sure,
but
I don't think you can for sure say this is negative. It's
yeah,
just
you
going to be
definitely
different.
can't. But yeah,
It's just going to be. It's not what you saw in the first 3 weeks.
I think I'm not saying 100% that it will be negative, but I am wanting to like adapt to the wait and see kind of like aspect of it and see what happens. I'll have to look too. They're playing this upcoming week 4.
They're playing the wait, no, yeah, I think they're playing the Steelers.
Okay, so I mean that's obviously not a great defense you want to be starting running backs against, anyways. I mean, I hate to say that I don't want to start anyone, but I really don't want to start anyone unless I see a reason otherwise come week 4.
And then, final piece of news: did you know this guy's real name is Michael McCorkle Jones?
I did not. That is news to me.
Yeah, Mac stands for McCorkle.
That kind of makes me look at him a little.
So McCorkle, yeah, a little differently. So McCorkle Jones, high ankle sprain, suffered. He's gonna be out. Now they haven't released anything. I was even going through the news. They don't like Belichick.
He looked like he was in a lot of pain coming off the field.
High ankle sprain is wild. Brian Hoyer is their backup. Disgusting. So take what you want from that. But if Brian Hoyer is taking the snaps for New England, that's trouble.
Yeah, I mean it's already been hard to start a wide receiver in New England. So Brian Hoyer coming in. Yeah, I mean Devontae Parker getting 30 yards a catch. I don't see that happening with Brian Hoyer. But if I do see that a kind of a benefit for anyone, I think it'd be Ramondre Stevenson, to be honest. I could see them being in passing down work a lot more and a lot more dump offs, but that would another kind of wait and see type offense with a different quarterback that you are not in love with starting anyone.
So they're playing Green Bay this next week. Probably going to be trailing, I think, but who knows? Green Bay hasn't been super impressive. That was the news. Joe, do you want to go in the irrelevant TDs of the week?
Yes, sir.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Okay, not a huge list this week. Fantasy I felt like scoring was down altogether, but I do have a couple.
It was a weird week, I'm telling you. It was a weird
one. First off, in Baltimore, the tight end scored. Yes, Mark Andrews scored twice, but the third one, it wasn't Isaiah Likely. It was Josh Oliver, owned in 0.0% of leagues.
Thank God.
Another tight end. Let's go to Indianapolis. Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods scored twice.
I was going to say, I thought he scored twice.
And
he's a rookie tight end, right?
Yeah, he's owned in 0.2% of leagues. It wasn't, Jack Doyle's gone, but it wasn't big old Mo Alley Cox. Now let's go to Carolina. No DJ Moore. No Robbie Anderson.
God, DJ
Not
Moore's
even Christian McCaffrey can find the end zone. Laviska Shenault, the new prized possession, former darling in Jacksonville. He had a long one, though. He's owned in 0.3% of leagues. Here's a former fantasy name that thought it was going to be relevant. Marquez Callaway finds the end zone for the New Orleans Saints. 0.2% of leagues.
Yeah, that was at the end of a game, a worthless touchdown that meant nothing, to be honest. But he did make a sweet one-handed catch, I'm pretty sure.
Here's one. Jordan Akins, the tight end for Houston, owned in 0.0% of leagues. You want to know why he's owned in 0.0% of leagues? Obviously, he wouldn't be rostered a lot. I remember him. He's been on the team for a little bit. Well, they cut him this year. He's been on the practice squad. He was elevated from the practice squad, I think, on Friday or Saturday, and he finds the end zone.
Jeez Louise.
Not Brandon Cooks.
Nope. He's always open, Derek. I'm telling you.
Always open. This one, back-to-back irrelevant. I don't think you can be 3 times. So if he does it again, I can't put him on here.
It starts but the white man,
the white man, River Craycraft for the Miami Dolphins finds the end zone. Still owned in 0.0% of leagues after scoring last week in Baltimore. He scores this week at home against the Bills.
I mean, if he does it again, he's going to end up on the soups of the week, not the irrelevant touchdowns of the week. Absolutely. 3 times.
Here's a name. He's kind of a bigger name who I really like, but he kind of loses. He gets lost in the shuffle in Minnesota. KJ Osborne, with all that talent there, he's only
Yeah.
owned in 3.8% of leagues, but he scored this week. No, bad. We'll talk about Justin Jefferson.
Ooh,
Hooked on a Thielen was back, but he wasn't in the starting lineup. So
KJ Osborne is, I like someone in Dynasty a lot, actually, considering Adam Thielen is probably ending his career within the next couple of years. You'd assume KJ Osborne definitely has a good outlook in the future. Him and Justin Jefferson as a 1-2.
Let's go to that Cincinnati and Jets game. Joe Mixon didn't score.
Nope. Couldn't.
Samaje Perine did, though. Former Jet. Revenge game. We should have seen it coming. But Samaje Perine does find the end zone. 3.7% of leagues. So how about that, Samaje? Maybe you'll get up over the 4 mark. And then here's the one that really takes it. In Tennessee. Now, we know that Derrick Henry finally scored. And even Ryan Tannehill snuck one in. Treylon Burks did not get it. He fell down at the 1-yard line. But you know who did? The tight end who's owned in 0.1% of leagues, Jeff Swaim.
Jeff Swaim with an M at the end?
Yep. SWAIM.
I've never even heard of him.
Well, his mother has, and she was very happy.
Yes, I'm sure she was.
So big touchdown for Jeff.
Jackson
Jeff
was
with a G, by
happy.
the way.
Jackson was very happy with that 1-yard touchdown. Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he fell in. That's great. Anyways, those were the irrelevant TDs of the week.
Everybody loves them.
Joe, we got a trade to break down. I'm going to let you handle it.
Oh, yeah, I'll handle this one.
I involved in this trade. Hit the sound for the trade.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
All right, so our very own co-host Nick Testoni, he received James Conner and Deontay Johnson from Diego Grijalva, who Nick Testoni traded away DeAndre Swift and A.J. Dillon. So 2 running backs coming from Testoni's squad, DeAndre Swift and A.J. Dillon, going to Diego's team, while Testoni's team, who has been, I'm sorry, it's just been a dumpster fire between injuries,
it's
not
been
getting
really,
workload,
really bad.
Everything, is receiving now James Conner and Deontay Johnson. I love this Deontay Johnson pickup for you.
He's a former.
Yeah, so
former
DeAndre Swift, we brought it up. When this trade happened, I did think Diego's MIA. Like, he's
beware.
not thinking about anything. Buyer beware. You can't say anything. But DeAndre Swift is
do
most likely going to miss 3 weeks.
You want me to tell the story of how this went down?
Yeah.
All right. So, I wake up. I'm thinking the past night, I got to make some moves. Like, something's got to change.
Yep.
And honestly, everyone's available. So, I'm a big family man. I like to take care of the house. I go out there and I start cutting the lawn at 10:30, 11 in the morning. I'm cutting the lawn. I'm listening to some fantasy podcasts, and then I get a little update, a little buzz on the phone. I look and it goes, "Oh, DeAndre Swift is actually possibly he hurt his shoulder. He might miss a couple weeks." And I'm thinking to myself, "Fuck that! I can't afford to not move this piece now."
I don't think that was really talked about during the game either. Did you just assume that it was his ankle is why he wasn't getting the work?
No, I knew he had hurt his shoulder, but I didn't know what he was going to be out for.
I couldn't remember seeing it.
Even before the update you're saying came out, someone said something earlier before 12. So immediately I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get rid of him now because I can't afford this. I can't, he's too big. He can bring me back something and I can't afford to wait 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm 0-3 and I'm barely getting by.
You said
so immediately this is really fucked up. But you know what? Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I know what you're about to say.
I immediately offer DeAndre Swift to 6 or 7 people in the league. And I wish I would have screenshotted it. I had 6 trades offered to 6 different people. So over half the league. And it was the people, it was literally the people who I knew might not have seen it.
First come, first serve for the injured DeAndre Swift. That's what you're saying.
So obviously you weren't on that list. Soup wasn't. Andy, I think I might even offer Jake Wills, but Jake kind of knew. But there was people on there that I know are really in touch with fantasy that I'd be like, they won't touch this. But the other people who I thought, oh, they definitely don't. There's a couple who definitely don't know, and then there's a couple people who are like, maybe they haven't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. Well, I threw them all out there, and
you cast it out of line, and you got a nibble.
Yeah, and so I cashed in. It probably doesn't look great, but I gave it to a guy who needed running backs because, he can play A.J. Dillon because he only drafted 2 of them. But I needed something back, and James Conner, I'm kind of hoping he kind of turns it on a little bit, that Arizona gets better as they get players back. And then I needed a wide receiver who could catch the football.
And I think the outlook for your wide receivers is on the come up, to be honest, because obviously we don't know when Chris Godwin will be back, but you do have T. Higgins, who has, when he's healthy, I mean, he's looked amazing on the field. You now have Deontay Johnson as wide receiver too, and when Chris Godwin gets back, you would hope Chris Godwin and Tom Brady would pick up right where they left off, and that would be a great three like wide receivers to have on your team. James Conner and Alvin Kamara now as your running backs. If you can just get the production that you should be expecting from those kind of guys, I mean, I don't see how you don't start clawing your way back. But obviously, you would have expected that through the first few weeks, so it's hard to say. And Diego, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, he's got DeAndre Swift now, so congratulations. Hopefully for Diego he plays, but sucks to suck, I guess. Now it's over. What can you say?
I'm going to tell you right now, I said in the group chat, it's a fire sale. It's not a yard sale. That wasn't just one guy.
Yeah.
There's more coming.
More's coming.
I'm unloading.
I'm always there for the feeler, so go ahead and send me some. My bench went off last week. I scored like 150 points on my bench.
Me and Sam Smith have been talking a lot. We had a long conversation last night that started with trade talk and ended up like talking about movies. So we actually got nowhere. but there's been talks. You don't know what these real life trade talks are like. They said they're in talks. They could get off on a tangent and be talking about something else. Anyways, that was the trade that went down.
Yeah. Yep.
Joe, you want to start off? We have a soups of the week.
You like that? You like that?
Soups of the week, baby. So these first two guys, I'm going to take credit for the first one, and the second one was your start of the week. We have Khalil Herbert, Devonta Smith, and Matt Collins. All three scored over 30 PPR fantasy points. Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery was my start of the week. So I am going to take credit for this as a hit, considering he was I believe the number one running back on the week. Devonta Smith, one of your starts of the week against that Washington secondary. Seems like if you just pick a wide receiver against Washington secondary, somebody's going off. So, I mean, that's kind of kudos to us. We have kind of the mine's obviously like half credit with Khalil Herbert, but I mean the top two guys on this list for the soups of the week were our starts of the week. Matt Collins, somebody that everybody needs to be looking at on waiver wires throughout the fantasy community. Had like 150 yards and a touchdown on like 7 or 8 catches, I believe. Just looking great. Obviously, Darren Waller, we're going to talk to on the Tylers of the week. So he's stealing some production from those guys as well as Devontae Adams too. But just going on some more here, we got Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown had 17 targets, by the way.
Dude, he still sucks.
Yeah.
14 catches for 140 yards. Come on.
His yards per catch were terrible, but Derrick Henry found the end zone, had 5 catches. Jamal Williams found the end zone twice again. Crazy.
Yep, he did.
Russell Gage was the winner of the injury-led wide receiver core for the Bucs.
Russell Gage was the winner of who's still standing in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. I know there was a little bit of talk about Cole Beasley, but Cole Beasley was barely in for I don't know snap count, but
just got it. Yeah,
Zay Jones had a great day for Jacksonville. Devin Singletary
had a great day.
Yeah, they did 9 catches on 11 targets for Devin Singletary and found the end zone, I believe. Chris Olave, he was kind of last man standing. I believe Andy pointed out that I might have said that I wouldn't have been playing Olave, and then coming down to realizing that Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry both were injured. Chris Olave filled in nicely. Cordero Patterson had like over 150 rushing yards again. Romeo Doubs, 8 targets, 8 catches, and a touchdown. A big time breakout game for Romeo Doubs. He benefited from the injury, another injury-led wide receiver core in Green Bay. Isaiah McKenzie, Devontae Parker, James Robinson continues to be the running back one in Jacksonville. Tyler Boyd had a breakaway touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson was like 12 for 80 and a touchdown with a few catches as well. So those are all the soups of the week. We now have the top 5 quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson continues to get it done.
He is the fucking man.
Yeah,
he does everything.
He
does absolutely everything.
Another 100-yard rushing game, I believe, while throwing like 4 touchdowns. I mean, he's just a cheat code. This is MVP Lamar Jackson is what we're seeing right now. Another guy that's a cheat code, Jalen Hurts. I mean, these top 3 guys are all cheat codes. Rushing with throwing multiple touchdowns a game. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence comes in.
I love it.
They threw
T-Law, baby.
That's
a Clemson man.
That is a Clemson man. They put up 38 on that Chargers new and improved defense. Joe Burrow continues to find himself up in that top 5 to 8 quarterback, even though he doesn't look that great. For fantasy, he's still been getting it done.
Bit of a get-right game. I didn't see most of that game. I don't know how it went, but it had to be somewhat of a get-right game for him.
Yeah, I think so too. So those are all the soups of the week. Those are all the studs. You hope that you started those guys. I mean, a decent amount of those guys aren't the big names that were probably on some guys on waivers, some guys on benches. Now we get into the duds. We're talking the Tylers of the week here.
Ooh.
You suck, you jackass.
Daryl Henderson.
What?
I mean, sitting in my freaking RB2 spot right now. Just
Blech.
1.7 points. Just disgusting. Didn't get to work.
Miles Sanders. It was only time.
Yep. Yeah, Miles Sanders. He was due for a dud. Everything was looking up and up for him. He just didn't get the work, even though Philly handled this game with ease against Washington. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, both the running
Whoa,
backs.
separate those because once you get into A.J. Dillon, you get into a nice group of people that are my players. So let's just start with Aaron Jones.
Okay, Aaron Jones. And I think that the running backs were kind of lower down here and both on the Tylers of the week because I think Romeo Doubs really took away that kind of work that Aaron Jones was getting in the passing game. He was 8 for 8. And Aaron Rodgers loves when he can trust the guy. So if he builds that trust with Aaron Rodgers, Romeo Doubs could be very interesting. And the next we'll go a couple of your guys here, A.J. Dillon, and then your 2 starting running backs, Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Swift.
Swift doesn't play for me anymore. And I'm going to skip down. Jerry Jeudy was also in my starting lineup. Between Jeudy, Dillon, Kamara, and Swift, I probably put together about 20, maybe 22 points between all of them. So I was really happy with that. It was really great. Made watching football on Sunday a lot of fun.
Well, on the bright side, a guy that you just acquired, James Conner, also made the Tylers of the week. So you love to see that bounce back coming.
You know, I traded 2 for 1, so I'm getting less worse by the
exactly. Javonte Williams also on this list. I mean, he's the lead guy in Denver, but Denver
cannot
stinks.
wait. I cannot wait. Let it go. Who are the bottom 3? Yeah, perfect. Keep going. Well, I can't wait to get to Denver.
All right. Tyreek Hill put up a 5 points in PPR formats. That's disgusting. And Justin Jefferson. Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, top 5 wide receivers on this Tylers of the Week list. Darnell Mooney, I'm going to stop putting them on here because you shouldn't be starting them. So
wait, real quick. Tyreek, I feel like you're just going to get that sometimes from him.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Justin Jefferson's a little more interesting because I feel like he's a guy who should be in the upper echelon of catches.
Yeah.
No, I think you give him one more. I mean, you're never going to bench him, but like I think you give him one more week until you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I mean, just about every wide receiver in the NFL is going to have a few bad games throughout the season.
Unless your name's Cooper Kupp.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, so Darnell Mooney, like you said, just stinks. I mean, the Bears offense does not know how to pass the ball. Allen Robinson with another dud. Brandon
he
Cooks.
dropped an easy touchdown pass. Did you see that?
Yes, he did. Him and Matthew Stafford's connection is just not there.
They don't get coffee. That's the problem.
They don't get breakfast together.
They probably don't even invite him.
Goat. Brandon Cooks still getting the targets, but just not connecting with Davis Mills, which is really sad to see. Jerry Jeudy, your guy here. I mean, Cortland Sutton seems to be the guy in Denver, even though it's not good.
I don't know. I don't know if I can say that though, because like Jeudy had a great first game. I don't know if this was like the injury. Also,
the only thing I'm going to push back about that great first game is he had 1 broken play touchdown. That was it.
He had 7 catches though.
I mean, but where the catch has been the next 2 games. I mean, I'm not trying to fight.
He didn't play. Remember, he didn't finish.
So it's kind of like me against you, but yeah, I know. He
played 1 quarter, 1 drive in the second game, and then this game he came back and he was like a game time decision, and it's like it doesn't help that this offense is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there, and yes, this offense is terrible. Having Russell Wilson as my quarterback has been.
Wait, I want to wait for that part. I want to wait. But speaking of terrible offenses, DJ Moore's on here.
Yep, terrible offense. DJ Moore has just not lived up to the hype that you would have assumed.
I don't blame him.
And we got a few tight ends here to round out the list. George Kittle, Gerald Everett, and Darren Waller, all guys that you would have hoped for more, especially George Kittle coming off the injury. I mean, I know that you can't expect that much, but with Jimmy G at quarterback, I know that there was a lot of hope surrounding
Throw Evan Ingram on here. I started him. He had to be a popular streamer.
1.9 points, I believe, for you.
Yeah.
I mean, just a hell of a week.
I know.
And we get down to the bottom 5 quarterbacks. These aren't the actual bottom 5 quarterbacks, but these are the most likely started bottom 5 coming in with Carson Wentz.
He's the extremes, huh? He's going to give you either top 5 or bottom 5.
I think the Washington Commanders punted 14 times throughout the game. Not actually, but close to it probably. Russell Wilson.
All right. I have a real question for you. How are you feeling right now? Because Russell Wilson,
I might drop him, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. I might drop him unless somebody wants him for the cheap. I'm gonna drop him.
Do you know that Geno Smith has more fantasy points than Russell Wilson?
Yep, I heard the fantasy footballers. I was just listening to that actually.
So hilarious, and this is a disaster. And
Well,
they won. They won that game. Could you think of a
11 to
less
10.
deserving win? Thank God Jimmy Garoppolo is, Dan Orlovsky.
The hard part is in this league together, so many guys have two quarterbacks, especially with Justin Herbert getting hurt. Derek, who sat Tom Brady, has a second quarterback on his team. A lot of guys have two quarterbacks, and so the waiver wire for quarterbacks is bone dry, and it doesn't look good. Even though I don't want to start Russell Wilson anymore. Tua came back to earth.
Oh my
Kyler
God,
Murray
Tua busted out. You remember a couple years ago the Daniel Jones drunken walk?
Yeah.
That's what Tua popped out, and somehow he came back in the game.
Yeah, I don't know how they let him back in the game because he slammed his head so hard on the turf, and I didn't think he was gonna I saw him wobbling. He almost fell to the ground. I thought they were gonna keep him out for the rest of the game, but he ended up coming back in.
For our dedicated listeners, he looked like Jake Wills on a Saturday night headed back from LQ or something. That's what he looked like.
Well, he had 13 completions and they won the game against Buffalo. How crazy is that? I think that shows that Miami's defense is kind of the truth too. And then Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert had the injury. I don't know how much you can take from it, to be honest, but Kyler Murray has just not looked good. I don't think Kyler Murray's looked good any game so far this year.
I don't think Arizona's offense is good. I don't know what. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's more fair. I shouldn't place it all on Kyler because their offense just has not gotten going, and Kyler's running around like a crazy person trying to make plays.
Like a crazy man.
Yeah. So that's the Soups and Tylers of the week. I hope you started the Soups. I hope you sat the Tylers. Most likely you didn't sit the Tylers because there's a lot of big names on here that is very, very upsetting. All right, let's hop into the fantasy matchups here. I'm sorry. We have a few that already wrapped up. I'll kind of break those down a little bit, and I'll go into what we have left for the other matchups. Mr. Derek Titano, congratulations. I'm sorry, Testoni. His first one of the season. Derek Titano gets a win over Testoni. It is 99% to 1%, considering Derek still has a kicker going tonight, Dallas's kicker.
And if that kicker somehow pulls off negative 50 points, that puts me within about a couple.
You're saying there's a chance. So that's a 131 to a 73.9.
I think this is the worst score in 5 years. This is the worst, by far the worst score. I've only been under 100. Was I under 100 last week? No, I wasn't. I've only been under 100 once. This is the second time, and I think I got 99. This is the worst. Let me just read you something real quick. Kirk Cousins is my most consistent player, along with Brandon McManus. That should tell you how bad this team is right there.
When he's playing, at least.
T. Higgins. And by the way, T. Higgins is I think he's had 2 concussions in 3 weeks. I don't know how he came back. He took another hellacious hit.
Oh, my God, I know.
This guy's getting murdered out there to give me, 14 points? Oh, this poor guy.
He's giving you his all.
DeAndre Swift, 7.6. Alvin Kamara, 7.3. Jerry Jeudy, 3.7. Thanks for participating. We shortchanged Evan Ingram. He had 3.9.
Oh, he did catch a 2-point conversion. I did not see that. One catch for 9 yards.
Sweet. And then AJ Dillon, 5.8. Oh my God.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tylers of the week on your roster.
I mean, that's 5 guys under 8 points.
Yeah.
Could it get worse than that? Whatever. Go ahead.
On a more positive note, Derek highlighted by guys like, another 2 quarterback team, Geno Smith, Cordero Patterson with 141 and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel had a modest 13.1 day. Travis Kelce, 18.9. Lockett had 16.5. And both of his defenders added up for 29 points. So when you have defenders that have good days, I mean, that really helps in this league. So that will bring Derek to 1-2 and my lovely co-host Nick Testoni to 0-3.
Yep.
Next matchup here that's all but wrapped up is Jackson Edelman getting a win, Milk with Ice getting a win over Papa Commish Andy Collins. That is going to be a 121 to a 92.34 victory for Jackson. This one's wrapped up. This one's 100%. I mean, Jackson had a few big days and then a few duds, to be honest. And we'll get into Andy's team in a second. But, I mean, he had 14 from Kyler and Jacobs. I mean, that's a good day for Jacobs.
Not a great
day. A below average day for Kyler Murray.
No touchdowns.
No.
Did Arizona score a touchdown? I don't think so.
Did they have 4 kicks? They might have had 4 kicks, to be honest. They lost 20-12. So Derrick Henry, like we said, found the end zone. I mean, so Derrick Henry, they talked about this on the Fantasy Footballers a little bit. So he had 5 catches. If you would have just taken his 85 on the ground and a touchdown, I mean, that's be a pretty good day, right? I mean, you'd have, 14 fantasy points. So you'd
Yeah.
take it. When you add those 5 catches, I mean, that's what can take Derrick Henry to running back 1 on the season. I don't know if that's going to continue, but that he was his leading scorer on the week with A.J. Brown, 5 for 85 and a touchdown. And then besides that, I mean, he had a bunch of single digits, including Kittle and Justin Jefferson. Andy Collins, Carson Wentz, who led him to a victory last week.
Oh,
Only got
one
him
too
8
many. Went back to the
points.
well too many
Yeah.
times.
Jonathan Taylor, who has been kind of underwhelming so far this year. He's still the running back 9, but he put up a 28 week 1, a 7 week 2, and a 12-pointer week 3. So
I got a stat for you about running backs later.
yeah. All right. Michael Pittman, his other Colt, he is coated up, had 15 points for him. Jalen Waddle had 16. Everything else, a lot of single digits.
Khalil Herbert on the bench with 32.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert.
Could never expect to start him, though.
You know, if Khalil Herbert, if somehow he started him, he could have got the victory. But you don't expect that. So that would bring Jackson Edelman to 2-1 as well. Andy Collins gets his first loss on the season, bringing him to 2-1 as well. Our next locked in victory is Sam Smith over Soup and Sammy's Tyler Campbell and Sam James. Another team that didn't get to 100 points. Soup and Sammy's only
99.
got stuck at 99. I believe
On
his
the
projection on the week was 147.
Oh,
He was just about 50 points below
what
his
went wrong
projection,
here?
which is
He had
crazy.
got a great day from Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts had a third of his points, basically at 28.6.
Yeah.
And then Amon-Ra and Dalvin Cook both had 13 points. And then here's 5 from Michael Carter, 5 from Tyreek Hill, 5 from Darren Waller, 5 from Miles Sanders.
The 5-man. 5 from Jonathan Abram.
Yeah, so I mean that's what happened with Soup's day. I mean, it just wasn't good. He brought up the fact that Julio Jones was hurt again, so all was right in the world. And as soon as he said that, Amon-Ra got hurt. Dalvin Cook got hurt. They came back. Dalvin Cook should be okay. Amon-Ra came back and played, but just bad luck came back to him when he said all was right in the world. Sam Smith had a good day. He's not even finished yet, and he already has 133 points.
With a great, you know what? Like, I would have sat Justin Herbert too, and I would have thought Goff would have had a better day. He got one more point, but with no healthy Justin Herbert, had a very good day.
Yes. Christian McCaffrey, of course, still not finding the end zone, but did have 14 points. He had Amari Cooper on Thursday, set him up with a great start to the week at 24.1. Christian Kirk had 19 points, but Garrett Wilson and Kyle Pitts, modest 12 and 13 points. I mean, just an above average day for most of his guys with a couple of boom weeks. I mean, that's just what you can't ask for more. He still has Saquon Barkley to play in this Monday night game as well. So those are the 3 matchups. So, excuse me, Sam Smith will end up 2-1 or 1-2. Excuse me, I'm fumbling. 1-2 Sam Smith now after that victory, and a 1-2 Soup and Sammy's after that loss. The other matchups, I'm playing Andrew Atkins here. I'm chasing 21 points, and I have Ezekiel Elliott left to play in the Monday night game, highlighted by a stinker from Russell Wilson, a stinker from Darrell Henderson, a couple of average days for Diggs and Devontae Adams. Cortland Sutton had a good day. It's about all I have. I'm struggling to get to 100 points. Atkins had David Montgomery, who got injured, but he's highlighted by Nick Chubb, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, Dallas Goedert, and a stinker from DJ Moore. But the other few guys all had good days, as well as Aaron Rodgers getting a nice little 16 points for him. Bryce Foble and Will Spano are in a tight one here. Projections within 3 points. Bryce here is highlighted by Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Juju Smith-Schuster. That is his triple stack in Kansas City. Mike Williams, who was one of my start of the weeks. Oh, he should have been on the Tyler of the weeks. Excuse me.
Mike Williams?
Yeah, Mike Williams.
Mike Williams caught one ball for a touchdown.
For a touchdown,
yards.
that was it. And Mark Andrews, his new and improved tight end with 28.9. Jackson might have got the win, but he's got to be missing Mark Andrews a little bit there. Spano keeps chugging along. I mean, he's going to be fighting for that 3-0 start. He's got Josh Allen leading the way. Dameon Pierce, remember he drafted him like third round.
Good day for him. It looked better.
Terry McLaurin and Drake London also is 2 highlights in the receiving core. 14 points for London, 17 for Terry McLaurin. Drake London continues to look good. And lastly here, we have Diego and Jake Wills, another close projection here. Jake Wills' team is wrapped up. He led by Lamar Jackson with a 40-point day. Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette, and Javonte Williams. Those are his running backs, and they all had, let's see, 13, that's 26, plus 9 is 35. 35 combined between those three stud running backs. And his wide receivers, Gabe Davis and Brandon Ayuk, did not get it done for him either. But Lamar Jackson leading the way, like I said, still has him at a 131, and Diego is fighting hard with Cooper Kupp, Deontay Johnson, Roquan Smith had 22 points for him, who got an interception. A couple of duds with James Conner. TJ Hawkinson had a decent day with 10.8. And Matthew Stafford is his quarterback, who also got 10 points. He didn't have a touchdown either.
Up to CD and Graham Gano to try to get hooked on a Thielen, by the way. First week benching Adam Thielen. He puts up 18.1 with 6 for 61 and a touchdown. How about that?
That is tragic. So those are the fantasy matchups. We have a few still going that will decide on this Monday night game. Good luck to everyone still going. And shout out Derek, Jackson, and Sam, all locking in the win before the Monday night game. That's always nice.
And before we get into the Sunday recap and our Thursday night preview, we're going to take a quick break.